You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Center, this is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is Time goes in, time goes out. Never miscommunication.
It's over 9,000! My name is Foxy.
The balls are in there. Do a barrel roll. Don't face me, bro. It's a trap. I'm a firing believer. Time to Hey, Charlie, wake up. Oh, God, oh, man.
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd to Know Basis Show, airing on Phoenix 92.5 FM as always. I am Keanu Calcone, and introduce yourselves in roughly alphabetical order, which is going to be typical because both of them begin with K.
It's Katie.
And it's Kev.
Excellent. So, we've had a lot of news this week because it is, what do they call in America? The big game, the Super Bowl, which means a million, billion, 30-second trailers come on, and then I'm assuming everyone goes home before the rest of the game. But before we get into that, we'll go to Katie first. Anything crazy you want to chat about, or any topics in the media, anything like that?
Nothing crazy, but just something I wanted to touch on that we kind of, as far as I'm aware, we haven't touched on it yet, is the new Legend of Pokemon Breath of the Monster Hunter.
I'm assuming, is that a mixy-uppy title?
No, I think that's the official. I think that's how Nintendo licensed this.
Okay, because like I have a Switch. Those cartridges couldn't fit that big of a title.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's
tell us about your Pokemon adventure then, Katie.
Okay, so my Pokemon adventure so far has been, as someone who's like, I'll be honest, I'm not really that into Pokemon. It's not that I don't like it. There's too many. You know what I mean? Like, you can't keep up with it. So I'm what people would refer to as a filthy Gen 1er, which means basically I stopped showing an interest after the first generation.
Yes, as we in the bourgeoisie call a scrub.
A scrub, yeah, filthy casual
You
scrub.
didn't even make it to gold?
I didn't make it to gold. Do you know what? I played, was it Ruby Red or Fire Red? One of those. And Let's Go Eevee, which is essentially the same game.
Oh
So
my God. I don't think
just...
I'd be able to work a mobile phone if I didn't play Pokemon Gold.
I tried Pokemon Go for a while, and I was like, what? It wants me to go outside. I'm not having this. So that didn't last very long.
It's okay. They've modded it so you don't have to go outside ever since COVID.
Yeah, well, so see, that's when I tried it. It was actually last year, and I was like,
okay.
What is this? You just flick Pokeballs and hope you catch something. And I got bored.
Can I just say, I'd love to see the Pokemon adventure show. Instead of Ash Ketchum, it's Katie. And she's just like, and Professor X is like, here's your Pokemon. Now, take your Pokedex and go out and explore. And you're like, what?
You want me to go outside?
You underarm,
no,
like...
they can come to me.
You like underarm like 3 Pokeballs or Rattatas, and they're like, I'm gonna go make dinner.
like maybe a Drowsy will turn up and try and eat your dream. It's like, all right, well, at least he came to me. Zap.
Drowsy is like my personification of Pokemon. Like, I am Drowsy.
Yeah, I remember the first time I played Pokemon Go, it was in Temple Bar, and there was loads of Drowsies everywhere. I'm like, what is this game telling me? I don't.
Was it a Sunday morning?
It was actually. I was on my way to a show in Galway. Yeah.
Oh, the game was telling you to sleep. The game knew that you had been awake all weekend.
But anyway, I'm sidetracking this. What's this new game and what are you doing in it?
Yeah, so basically, for anyone who hasn't played it or hasn't seen anything about it, doesn't know anything about it, it's basically a Pokemon game if it was fun. And I say that very controversially. As someone because I find Pokemon games very repetitive and boring.
I'm waiting for Lisa to just kick the door in.
Yeah.
Yes, you read my mind. Somewhere
me,
Lisa is spinning in her grave or coffin or whatever it is that heavy metal people sleep in.
But no, I kind of get where you're coming from. I've dipped into Pokemon occasionally, and I get about 20 hours in before I'm like, I'm just kind of doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. The same thing over and over again. And there is that to this new Pokemon. Obviously, yeah, you go and you catch the Pokemon and you bring them back and blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of the same over and over, but it's different enough that it's actually interesting.
So the main hook is to this is opposed to the normal Pokemon being random encounters that lead to a turn-based encounter. This is all real time. Pokemon are walking around and you just walk up them.
I can handle that.
Yeah, so the Pokemon, now obviously they stay in their area. So there's areas where you'll find certain Pokemon and, but they're walking around. And then what you do is you run up to them and you can just try and catch them straight out, or you can try and battle them, which then it will turn into turn-based, Pokemon style fighting.
Oh,
but
I
even
see.
at
So
that,
the catching is like Pokemon Go, but the battling is still turn-based, that kind of thing,
Yeah, but even with the battling, it's kind of cool because you can, as the trainer, you can walk around the battle as it's happening and stuff like that, which is pretty interesting.
Just go out and get a sandwich or something
Yeah, and so one of the big selling points that they made for the game when it came out was that it's open world. Now, I think that's a bit misleading because it's not actually open world. What it is you have 5 fairly sizable sandbox areas, different biomes, and then a hub area. But it's not open world. You can't run from one end of the map to the other, if that makes sense. So you have big stretches, but
I'm so intrigued and slightly offended that you haven't enjoyed other Pokemon games. what is the edge this game has over those other ones?
Do you know what? I don't really. I think it's kind of more the way the character moves around themselves rather than being a stick figure that just runs from here to there and can't do anything else. There's things like you can hide in the grass, to stealth your way around, and you can dive out of the way if a Pokemon tries to attack you. And then there's without spoiling too much, you get mounts as well. So, you get you can run faster or fly or climb mountains or swim in the ocean, that kind of stuff. And it's all just really dynamic instead of being stagnant the way Pokemon tends to be.
I see. So you feel like you're more involved with it, a bit like you said, as a Link character, that you are doing things rather than walking around a world and then things happen kind of very separate of you.
It's kind of as well. It's kind of like I know in the old Pokemon games, say when your party, if they've all fainted, you just kind of wake up at the Pokemon Center. Whereas in this one, it's if your party faints, well, now you have to deal with a Pokemon that's running at you and you've no way to defend yourself.
My goodness.
That's the one that's the one kind of point that strikes me that's so radically different is because the Pokemon all range in size as well. There are Pokemon rocking around there that are twice you person height, 10 feet tall.
Oh, there's Pokemon,
and they will just run at you.
Yeah, there's Pokemon that are 5 times the size of you person. And they will run at you.
Hey, okay, here's something new. How about we make Pokemon existentially terrifying?
See, you had that to some degree in Sword and Shield. It's just that when they caught you, you went into the battle system.
No, this Snorlax will just come up and punt you.
Yeah,
you know what? Snorlax is my favorite. I would be kind of have mixed feelings about it, but I would be happy a bit.
I'm telling you, there is nothing more terrifying, right? And this actually happened to me. There's nothing more terrifying in a Pokemon game than rounding a corner and having a 50-foot angry Snorlax with glowing red eyes run at you.
Wait, run?
It ran.
How?
They're quick when they want to be.
See, if you had actually played Pokemon Gold, you'd know there's nothing more terrifying than a Miltank doing rollout. That's the proper scary stuff.
I haven't seen Miltank now. I don't think Miltank is in this one, but they did say that they wanted to add, I think there's like 230 something Pokemon in it already, and they want to add like at least another 170, something like that.
Okay, because I remember this being a sticking point with Sword and Shield. Everyone got offended that not all 800 Pokemon were in there, but like, how could they be?
Yeah,
You know?
like as big as the game is, it does kind of stutter under its own weight at points. So, like, obviously, I'm not saying it's a perfect game, but I will say that personally, I think it's the best Pokemon game that has come out ever. Probably since the first one, obviously, because that was so groundbreaking. But it's not perfect at all. Like, there's janky bits. There's like, if you look into the distance, some of the Pokemon are like lagging around, that kind of thing. And even in terms of gameplay, there's not a whole lot that you can do besides like foraging and catching Pokemon and crafting. But it's a step in the right direction, I think.
Okay, and who would you recommend this to?
People like me who they like the idea of Pokemon in theory, but they find the games like just really repetitive and boring.
Okay, so I suppose what you're implying there is it's for both people who like Pokemon and people who don't like Pokemon.
Yeah, now obviously not everyone's gonna like it. Like some people just don't like that kind of thing, and like I've seen people online complaining about it, saying I really tried to like it and I just couldn't. But all I'd say is go into it with an open mind. It's not like the other Pokemon games. It's controversially, it's actually fun.
Fantastic. And Kev, it seems like you know a bit about this game as well.
Funnily enough, I actually haven't played it. So this is all just through osmosis, just watching kind of clips and that. But yeah, it's one that's kind of been on my radar because I'm exactly in that bracket Katie's talking about where I just never gelled with the Pokemon formula. Love the world, love the characters. I will die for Rowlet, the little L. my life and soul belongs to him.
Cyndaquil is my bae.
Yeah, but I just never gelled with the Pokemon game. So I kind of saw this, and also again, Rowlet is in this game.
Yep,
immediately has me hooked. So it's one I'm probably gonna like. I'll probably check out as soon as my list of games whittles down a little further.
Yeah, that's fair, and it is time consuming. I think
that's the thing. I think when I hear the world, like even though you said like the open world restrictive, it's still like pretty open world.
Oh yeah, I've already put like over 50 hours into it.
Yeah, that's becoming a retraction point now for me. Hey, you marketing your game under 20 hours? Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, something I can get through quickly. No, thank you.
Yeah. So, like, actually, that's been the reason I haven't checked this out, apart from considerable financial burden, is I still have Pokemon Sword, I think is the one I have. And like, if I put in enough effort, I think I could finish that Pokedex. But I don't want to go back to the start on a Pokedex,
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about the new Pokemon as well, is that you can just bounce around from region to region, and there's fast travel as well, which is nice. And then obviously the mounts that you can get around quicker. And it works. It's not tedious.
It's not tedious. 5 stars.
I don't know if I'd go as far as giving it 5 stars. Like there are definitely some things that they need to iron out. But like I said, it's a step in the right direction. And if they keep making, more games like that, but improving on them each time, then I'm in.
Okay. Speaking of ironing out and tedious, can I bring up the subject I'm waiting to talk about since basically last week?
Yes, please.
Are you guys up to, do you guys know what happened with the Kingdom Hearts thing this week?
Oh, yes.
Kev, you take the lead.
Yes. So, I haven't played it, but I am all too aware of this and many stories before it because they released on the Switch the full Kingdom Hearts library, but kind of were subtly marketing them as the cloud versions. And literally, like, they've been doing this for select games. And it's basically Nintendo's way of getting these big budget kind of AAA games that like would be running on like modern hardware on the Switch, which is lesser. And effectively, what these are doing are streaming the games to the Switch through an online service. So you're buying a stream of a game. Right. Kean, how has your experience been with this Kingdom Hearts?
Walls have been punched. It basically it's now not as bad as it was the day I installed it. But I didn't know it was a cloud game. I didn't know what a cloud game was, because I don't know if you know this about Kingdom Hearts, but the titles are filled with so many nonsense words that when I saw the word cloud version in it, I'm like, all right, Kingdom Hearts, birth by death by sleep. See,
that's the other thing. When you see Kingdom Hearts cloud version, you think, oh, it's got Final Fantasy VII references, right?
That's what I thought. Yeah,
cloud is literally in the games.
Like it's crazy for so many reasons. Like I could maybe understand why they would do a cloud version of 3, because that was the PS4 game, that was Unreal Engine, that was a whole big budget blow up. The rest of them are all PS2 games. Why can't you run that on the Switch?
I mean, like that was I was like, I got onto you guys straight away, kind of off the air. Like, what is this? What's happening? Because like immediately it asked for an internet connection. I was like, no, whatever, fine. Some of the games ask for internet connections. Maybe in case you want to do a multiplayer thing or something like that. And look, it's on me to not Google what a cloud version of something is. But even still, like the game was basically unplayable. If it lags for a minute, you get booted out. And if you don't engage with the game for a minute or two, it boots you out. And I don't know if you know this, Kev, but Kingdom Hearts has some long sequences of you watching Sora and Donald Duck talking about their feelings and solving mysteries and saying abstract things like, what is the light of the heart, of the darkness of the soul, while Mike Wazowski walks in the background.
Oh, like, whole extended sequence in number 3 where Woody tells the main antagonist that he has no friends. I love that series. I can imagine as well that your 2-year-old toddler has absolutely no regard for Papa having to watch his lengthy cutscenes, so his game does not kick him out.
You have actually hit the nail on the head there. It really undermines the selling point of the Switch because you're connected to a network. If you put the Switch down for a minute, it boots you out.
Yeah.
So if you're playing it, you have to play it or you'll lose your progress wherever you stop, you know, the lag is so bad. Like that opening island scene in Kingdom Hearts 1 is tough anyway. Have you guys played Kingdom Hearts, actually? Yeah. Like, I know you guys...
I haven't, no.
Okay. It's from that wonderful era of PS2 where it's like the influence of PC games was still there. That very much like, we're not going to tell you how this game works. You figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's about halfway... There was a point about halfway through the PS2's life cycle where, like, controls are pretty standardized across games consoles. Kingdom Hearts hadn't gotten there yet.
Right.
No. And like the hardest level for me, at least, is like the first level, the training level, because it just chucks you into these one-on-one fights where the odds are stacked against you. And like, you know, you do all these collecting and you have to do running races. Those are hard things in and of themselves, but you only get one go at them sometimes. And then, like, the consequences are locked in forever. If you're doing that against lag, where you are frozen, but your opponents are not, like, you know, you have to quit the game and start again. And it takes 5 minutes because you have to sign into a bloody online network, which might not let you in. It kind of feels like trying to go into, like, a really busy cafe and just when you turn it on, praying to God that there aren't too many people on the network or something. Because I've got a good internet connection. I'm running it off this internet connection. Like,
yeah,
you
like
know,
that's it
sometimes
seems
the game
like
just doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it seems like the cloud version of these things, like there's so many caveats that like need to be fulfilled that they're not advertising it correctly for like any normal consumer to like to have every one of these things capable. And also, No, I don't know where I was going with that. It just seems like a bad idea.
Well, it kind of seems like it's going against the entire point of playing video games as well. Like, it's not supposed to be stressful and a chore and wall punching. You know, it's supposed to be something that you do to chill out and, you know, relax.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Kate. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind it being a cloud thing. I don't mind having to play it connected to the internet. I just want it to work. And like the games, it is cool to have all the Kingdom Hearts games in one place. That's the only reason I haven't played this series beyond Kingdom Hearts 1. But because like it's just so hard to figure out the running order of games. But like when you have 6 games all jammed into one game, as it were, like all in the same cartridge online, that means all the people playing all those 6 games will be in the same online lobby. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for something like Kingdom of Hearts, which obviously is hugely popular, you know, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to play.
Exactly. And like, you know, your internet has to be so good just to get it to work. Like I actually ran tests on it last night. I had the little handheld Switch, like, you know, and like played the games kind of running okay. I played a YouTube video on the computer near me and the game like slowed down significantly. So it's not like it's so like it requires all your attention, and God help you if someone walks by with a phone using the internet. It'll just give up. Christ. And like, yeah, I think Kev hit the nail on the head. I kind of wish I knew what it was, because if I had, I probably wouldn't have bought the entire collection, you know.
Well, no, to be fair now, like Kev said, you see Cloud version and you think, oh, Final Fantasy. Like they should have been more specific. It's
like this is because this isn't the first. It's probably the biggest, the most like high notoriety, but they have been doing this for a couple of years now. I think recently they also did this with the Guardians of the Galaxy game that came out earlier in the year. And I think Hitman, a couple of the Hitman games came out on the Switch. So like this, like it has been a lightly common thing that's kicking around, and they kind of just do subtitle as Cloud version. Kingdom Hearts just kind of has a funny relationship to that. Yeah.
But I would say the unfortunate thing about this is Kingdom Hearts is more popular than those examples you mentioned.
Yeah.
And there is the gimmick of having all of them in the same place. So like, I'd say there are a lot of people like me who didn't know what they were buying and didn't fully understand the caveats they were signing up for, you know. And
oh, no, absolutely. And again, I don't know why they need to server link and stream games that are nearly 20 years old that were running on DVD players.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, just if you absolutely have to, make 3 Cloud one. But like, I could run like 2 of those Kingdom Hearts games in the collection are Game Boy Advance games. I could run them on my phone with enough determination.
You could run the first 2 on your phone with some determination. The PS2 was not a technical marvel by today's standards. Yeah. It was a great console, but it's a glorified DVD player.
Oh, we're coming up with all the great taglines. All right, well that's I mean, don't get me wrong, I am going to play as much as I can of it. I just like Katie was saying, I don't like the nervousness of I've got a child at home, I might have a half an hour in the day. I would like that to ideally be not the only half an hour in the day where the game doesn't work. So,
well, let me tell you, if you want an online experience where you do have a half an hour a day that won't get interrupted, have I got this service for you. I really wish we were getting paid to do this. But I
reach out to us.
I have gotten way hardcore into manga recently.
Oh yeah.
Circumstances have just allowed me the privilege of being able to read some during the day. And I think I've plugged it on the show before, but I truly cannot get over the Shonen Jump app on like website for how insane of a deal it is. It is €2 a month for all of Shonen Jump's back catalog. So that's €2 a month for all of One Piece, all of Naruto, all of Hero Academia, all of Bleach, and just anything else. It's crazy. So
Oh my goodness.
So as I think I mentioned as well in a previous episode, I got way big into Berserk after its author passed away middle of last year, actually, now I think about it. Finished that there recently enough and was talking about it. It's beautiful. Go read Berserk. It's a masterpiece. And I had this itch to scratch for like dark fantasy. And I'd been hearing rumblings about one on Shonen Jump called Chainsaw Man. Y'all, Chainsaw Man is great. It is so far it's only a manga, so it's only on Shonen Jump. I think there is an anime adaptation coming out later this year that kept getting pushed back because of COVID. But the manga is fantastic. Chainsaw Man, it's essentially a dark fantasy action world where basically demons exist in the world. So big prolific job out there is demon hunter. So we have our protagonist, whose name is Denji, who when we meet him, he is missing a kidney, an eye, and just various other body parts that he's sold to pay off his dead father's debt that has fallen onto him. By the end of chapter 1, he has already been chopped up and thrown in a trash can and ends up making a deal with the devil to basically save his dog devil, to save his life. Turns out, whoopsie, that was a chainsaw devil. Now we've got Chainsaw Man. And like the thing is, it's dark fantasy that is like has the intensity and brutality of something like Berserk, but where Berserk would kind of balance that with a lot of real emotional tenderness, Chainsaw Man balances this with comedy. And Tatsuki Fujimoto is a fantastic illustrator, and he has this way of giving these splatter shot like violent images, this raw chaos that's still very readable. But he's also a masterwork of the human face, where there is a panel, and I'm sure if you just look up Chainsaw Man, it's one of the first things you see, where a woman is just puking into Denji's mouth, and the facial reactions on both of them are nigh perfect.
Oh my goodness, we're getting some serious on a 5 problems here.
But it's like, that aside, it's great action, funny to a fault. But also, it like in the space of what's pretty short, in about 97 chapters, it gets to some pretty hefty ideas about how the devils that are in this world are manifestations of concepts that people fear. So something like the gun devil is the most devastating force that humanity have ever known, because of humanity's fear in guns.
What are all these different devils then? That's what I don't understand.
So again, like a devil is basically, in this, it's a manifestation of somebody's fear. So like Chainsaw, he is a chainsaw devil. He's pretty powerful because of humanity's fear of chainsaws. As I mentioned, the gun devil is one of the most powerful forces in this universe. One of the first things you see getting rocked down is tomato devil, because hey, people don't really fear tomatoes that much. That's a pretty weak devil. That's kind of the concept here. And it just takes that idea and just rolls with it in so many just really interesting ways.
Okay, all right. So I've just looked at some of the artwork there, which obviously I can't describe as lursus here, but yeah, it's a lot prettier than I expected something called Chainsaw Man to look.
That's the thing. There's a franticness and a chaos to it, but it's all still very clean. It's all still very, very readable. Okay,
so where can people find this app then? What's it called again?
So on phones, it's just called the Shonen Jump app, available through any app store. Or you can do it online through, if you just Google Shonen Jump, it brings you there through Viz's website. Viz would be the Western publisher. I'm not being paid by them as much as I truly want to be. But
You've earned your £2.
But it's £2 a month, you guys. Just give them it anyway.
Well, since you brought up making deals with the devil, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I feel like we should mention the fact that by the time this airs, Cuphead will be out on Netflix. It looks really good. Our friend of the show, Keith Byrne, worked on it. Like, And yeah, have you guys played Cuphead? Or is there like any Cuphead fans here?
I have not.
I played a little bit of it. It was too hard for me.
Yeah, I heard it was.
I can always make it about
difficult.
halfway through. How about you, Katie?
No, it looked good, but I heard it was one of those games that like just wants you to die constantly, and I'm not about that.
It's, you know what? It does have this Dark Souls reputation, but it's, to be honest, like, I mean, now having said that, I will play about half an hour at a time, but it's such a pretty game. I don't mind taking on the bosses a few times.
It definitely benefits. Like, I played it on the Switch, and I presume you did too. It definitely benefits on its Switch because that's very
useful. And on Steam, and it's the Switch.
Well,
it's a good one to play with friends, but just make sure it's not a friend you might lose after one argument.
It ruins friendships, does it?
Yeah. It's very much from that like 90s era of like, you know, 2-player split screen co-op, you know. Just make sure it's someone you trust, you know, kind of Monopoly rules. Didn't
Nintendo recently announce as well they're releasing a DLC for Cuphead?
Are they? God help us all.
Yeah, I don't know. I spotted that in the Direct recently, but I don't know if that's something exclusive to Nintendo. I haven't been paying attention to other game things. I think the studio had like developing Cuphead are going to be milking it for a while because it was huge.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's such a pretty thing. Like, I mean, it's worth having more of that in the world.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And speaking of more things being in the world, let's talk very quickly about the Super Bowl trailers. The only ones I'm aware of are the Marvel ones, although I know there were Jurassic Park ones too and that kind of stuff. Have you guys seen the Doctor Strange trailer yet?
No.
No, really? Have you
I just
heard about it through osmosis?
I think I heard bits, and I don't know if what I heard was like rumored or like confirmed.
Right. Okay. Well, handily enough, Dara, who isn't here tonight, just literally put up all of the things that happened in the trailer in his feed. So I'll just bring that up now. I suppose it's, well, first of all, Doctor Strange 2, Sam Raimi is directing. It looks a lot like sort of No Way Home, but for the entire Marvel universe. Do you know what I mean? It's like got all these like kind of elements turning up and mixing and matching. Obviously,
I mean, they've said it in the title, the multiverse of madness.
Well, there you go.
They kind of sum it up pretty concisely.
I mean, it's a great title to get started. Like, obviously, Doctor Strange and his extended cast, like Wong and Mordo, they're back. And the Doctor, whose name I can't remember, unfortunately. It's got all them, as well as like they've confirmed sort of the younger Miss Marvel is in it. Wanda from WandaVision is in it. They have shown lots of shots of like Wanda's house from WandaVision, so there's going to be more overlap in it than I expected, or at least that's how they're making it look. The big one that's getting people, America Chavez, sorry, that's the other Miss Marvel. The big one that's got people talking is there is a brief voice cameo from Patrick Stewart, which would seem to imply that Professor X is in this, even if it's only in some sort of multiversal
cameo
capacity. Have you guys heard of this yet?
That was what I saw. That's what I saw people talking about. And I wasn't sure if that was a lot of people getting their hopes up or not.
Yeah, well, no, we don't see his face. It's only a voice. To be honest, I'm so out of touch. I thought it was Ian McKellen's voice.
Which would also be good.
That's true. He is Magneto.
Just roll a dice on old British men.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, I suppose now I'm skeptical of this because WandaVision is in the mix and it's a multiverse, and WandaVision did the Quicksilver, not Quicksilver thing.
The boner joke. Of course, we remember.
Yes. Dara isn't here to get angry about it. So I'm skeptical of that hype. But yeah, even just going by the trailer, it's like, you know, you see bits of the What If animated show, you see bits of this, bits of zombies, bits of Ultron. Like, I would be very disappointed if all this stuff was compressed into 10 minutes of the movie and it was just a normal movie apart from that. But I don't think that's what this is.
No, I think their plan, it seems like they're gearing this up to be like the next kind of Avengers level crossover event.
Yeah, I think you're right. I hope, like, now I don't want every Marvel movie to be this big, if you know what I mean. I quite like my Shang-Chi's and my Eternals, my Hawkeye trying to get home for Christmas stuff. But I will admit, Doctor Strange is probably my favorite Marvel character after Vision, and I'm very excited to see all the stuff going down. And I hope they give Sam Raimi kind of permission to kind of just go nuts with it.
I mean, that's really the kind of the big point here, is that we've got Sam Raimi back doing kind of anything. What was the last thing he did? The Evil Dead reboot.
I don't think he even did that one. The last thing I was aware of was Oz the Great and Powerful, which is why I'm sort of like, which Sam Raimi are we getting?
I didn't know that was him.
But you know.
I did not know that was him.
That's, yeah.
Okay.
No, God bless him, because like after Spider-Man 3, which, you know, he wasn't really in control of it all. And I don't hate Spider-Man 3.
It's a gem in its own right.
Definitely, no, like knowing what we know about Spider-Man 3 now, the parts of it I don't like were the ones that were just completely shoehorned in.
Yeah, you can basically look at every single Sony movie since Spider-Man 3 and kind of reverse engineer it. Like, So, I mean, so I'm hoping this will be his big comeback and not, as is sometimes the case with Marvel, a sort of director for hire, do the things we've mandated you to do thing. I hope it certainly looks visually gorgeous. It's definitely got horror elements, which is very much him.
So that was the other thing. Isn't this one like getting a kind of an older rating as well? Which
I'm gonna have to actually check that.
I think I remember hearing that kicking around, and I like that would be like if they allow Sam Raimi to kind of go a little harder in the horror aspect. Even just like a little more for Marvel's sake. I just think that'd be really interesting.
Oh, definitely. Apparently Bruce Campbell is going to be in it. So
that's a given.
Groovy.
Yeah. Dr. Palmer, the Rachel McAdams character. Shit, that's the one I was trying to remember. Sorry. So yeah, that looks really, really good. I highly recommend you check out the trailers before. I know we've just basically spoiled the highlights, but there's still things I've deliberately not mentioned that you can go check out. There was also a little kind of Moon Knight teaser, which is coming out next month. Are you guys familiar with Moon Knight at all?
I was excited until they didn't give it to Daniel Radcliffe, and then I was just like not interested anymore.
But then they gave it to Oscar Isaacs.
I'm sorry, but Daniel Radcliffe is way more of a treasure than Oscar Isaac will ever be.
Oscar Isaac is cornering the market on Marvel makey-uppy Egyptian characters.
Yeah, he's done enough.
Oscar Isaac is cornering the market on daddies.
Yes.
Oscar Isaac is cornering the Disney market.
Well, look, I mean, they kind of messed him around with Poe Dameron, so like, you know, get him something good.
But like, we get it. Oscar Isaac is great. Like, we know he's good. We know he can do it. Give other people some chances.
There's definitely something to that. I won't argue that. By the way, Moon Knight is the most fun character to explain to people who don't know Moon Knight. And the
Isn't
TV
he like
show seems to be...
He's a drunk and Dracula owes him money?
See, that one single panel is the only thing I know about this character.
Okay. He is a character who, while traveling with the army as a soldier, fell into an Egyptian pyramid and got cursed by a cat god.
Ooh.
And upon returning, he assumed a new identity as a taxi driver in New York, where he hangs out with the homeless in a cafe, which is not to be confused with his third identity, which is not Moon Knight. We are 3 identities in, and we're not at Moon Knight yet, because he has another secret identity where he is a millionaire with like a model girlfriend. So this guy who came from like an impoverished, I think maybe Jewish background, joined the army, took a new name, got cursed, started working as a taxi driver with a different name, then is also a millionaire with another name. And this is all before we add in Moon Knight, another identity. And Moon Knight has a butler who flies him around in a helicopter named Frenchie. And this is our character.
But I I specifically remember hearing something about he likes to call the Avengers at 3 a.m. and scream that they owe him money because he thinks Dracula is an Avenger.
That's Moon Knight. He's not. I seem to be giving you the impression that he's Deadpool. He's not. He's not a funny character. He's a bit surly, but he's not like completely out there. It's really hard to tell because I've read the first like 20 or 30 issues of Moon Knight, and he's one of my favorites. But it's very hard to tell what the vision for Moon Knight was. The only way they've been able to rationalize Moon Knight in the modern like 90s, 2000s is to make him schizophrenic. And even then, that feels like what do we do with this? Watching the trailer, they junk 3/4 of his actual origin story, and good for them.
I think you kind of need to do that with comics to begin with, though. You realize like, oh man, okay, like 3/4 of this is absolute trash.
Yeah. It was from the same era that Blade came from, where they kind of sold comics, not really expecting any character to last more than a year. So they just put in as many gimmicks as they could.
The Rob Liefeld effect, yeah.
Yes, that's a really good way of putting it. So Moon Knight is like, I've heard him described as like B grade Marvel, which he's one of my favorites, but that's generous. He is golden when he's teamed up with Doctor Strange, because his gimmick is he does like hunt monsters at night and stuff. But like, he is the most confused character I've ever seen have an extended long life in comicdom. And it does not surprise me at all that the trailer seems to junk most of his actual character to make it work. Still, I am very, very excited for it because, like, I really like the Hawkeye, and all the Disney Plus things have been good so far. So I have no idea what to expect from this.
But you're just waiting, we've been waiting for just this sort of deep cut for Marvel to start pulling from.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you've run out of A-list Avengers. Now it's time to start kind of like dusting off the shelves and seeing what you've got hidden in the back. And this is definitely the most in the back superhero, short of Squirrel Girl, I can think of. Yeah,
this seems like they're trying to pull another Guardians of the Galaxy out from nowhere.
Yeah, that'd be a really good comparison.
Like, for want of a better phrase, it is kind of good that they're, scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point, because we need new characters. You don't want to see the same 5 or 10 characters over and over again.
Yeah, you are right. And like, it's, he's been a character that's had like 50, 60 years of development. And I'm sure that like I'm offending people at home who like know why all of this makes sense. But I've sampled 3 or 4 eras of Moon Knight, and it's always in that, what is this type feeling as far as being pulpy, or like, is it a grounded story about the homeless? Well, then what are werewolves doing here? Is he Batman? Then why is he driving a taxi and talking to a cat statue? Like, it's just, it's very much like superhero loaf of all the things that were popular at the time,
They're like, it does seem like they to get it right, there is a balance where you got to be like, this is stupid, but it's also weird. You gotta believe it, guys.
You have to be confident in your stupid weirdness.
Yeah. Is it actually? Do we know who's directing it, or like it, or is it kind of just one of Marvel's? Because it seems like the sort of thing where we want like, again, like I don't want to compare it too much to Guardians, but it's someone like a James Gunn, I think, could do that very well.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So like even the Moon Knight description has 2 of the identities in it. Like, it's like, oh, whatever. I'm gonna look up who's directing now. But yeah, if you want to like kind of just have a trip, just read the basic premise. All I've done is explained the basic premise of Moon Knight. I haven't even gotten into his brother, who's like a zombie werewolf or something.
It says here Mohammed Diab.
Don't recognize him.
I am gonna look up his history.
No, but like, that's just in case like it was somebody
like a name, like
a name. It could be a name. It could be a nobody, which is also, which I
mean, like, that's what Katie was saying. Like, give more people the opportunity.
Or it could be just like a pool of, because Disney has like a pool of directors and writers that they just kind of swap in and out like key cards.
Yeah.
He's
Okay, well, I'll
Egyptian,
give them
so
this.
That makes sense.
The director is actually Egyptian, which is immediately more sensitive than I was expecting.
Mhm.
I thought this. I was getting the hints of Iron Fist off this, you know. Okay, yeah, mostly kind of stuff I don't recognize, but like Katie said, like, you know, it's kind of give someone their start.
Well,
and
he
actually-
wrote The Island. That's pretty good.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. But actually, speaking of kind of directors and things, sadly, Dara isn't here for the J.J. Abrams news.
Oh, where's my stick? We got a dead horse here. Where's my stick?
Yes, they seem to finally be moving forward with Star Trek 4 or Star Trek 14,
Now,
depending on what way you're counting.
the headlines have been mentioning Abrams. I dug just like a layer under. He is not directing this.
Okay.
He is a producer.
Okay.
So-
right.
So
don't
involved, but not really.
Involved, but he's not like the head. Because here's the thing. He did an okay job with the first one. Correct me. He did direct Into Darkness.
He did,
Right?
yeah.
And that was bad.
Yeah.
And then we started learning, hey, maybe he's not good. Then they got the director of the Fast and Furious franchise to come in and do Beyond.
That's my favorite Star Trek film.
And that ruled.
Yes.
I did see, though, because the director, I cannot remember his name now off the top of my head, but he was the showrunner for WandaVision.
I did see that. Yes, they did announce that. Is it Jack Schaefer? Is it? Or
I don't know.
yeah. WandaVision writers and directors are all over this now. To be honest, I would take all of this with a pinch of salt because I've done so many Geek Ireland articles on, you know, the director of Fargo's directing it now. Quentin Tarantino's directing it now. George Lucas is directing it now for maybe 2 minutes. I don't know.
It seems like such a weird one to have this kind of revolving door. Because I think for a project like this, where, you know, it's still a pretty big cash cow.
Yeah.
It seems like Paramount should be able to just pick a director and just go, no, you're making Star Trek.
Here's
Yes.
a truck full of money.
Yeah.
It's because the one for the longest while was they were going to do a time travel Star Trek film where Chris Hemsworth, who before he was famous was Kirk's dad for 2 minutes in the start of the first film, where he would come back and team up with adult Kirk, and they were kind of leaning into that with Beyond as well. Apparently they were all too expensive, so that just got scrapped. But yeah, I would be optimistic to see a new film because we haven't had a good new Star Trek film in a while. Are you guys like Star Trek heads or?
Not really, but like I did see the first new Star Trek and then the third one, and they were okay. Didn't hate them.
That's kind of it. Like, at this point, I think like we've talked at length about Trekkie and how we think it needs to kind of keep pushing boundaries. And I'd be happy if again they just start kind of throwing this main film series just at just different directors. Like, what can you do? We made a big flashy action series where the climax involved the Beastie Boys. What can you do with Star Trek? That's like it's been around for near on like 60 years more.
Yeah.
Like, just go wild with it. I'll watch it. I just want it to be fun.
I will say one thing though. I completely did not understand Idris Elba's character in the third one. Like sometimes he was an alien, but sometimes he wasn't.
Yeah, they kind of had to hide the twist that he was one of the first captains that set off into space as Starfleet, which is what the makeup was for. And the more he kind of drains people's life, the more mutated he looks. So he was never an alien, but they didn't really clarify it all that well.
Yeah, they didn't really explain it. Like,
see, here's the thing. I love that movie because I don't think about it, and that's the Star Trek with dirt bikes.
Yes.
I will say I did enjoy the makeup though, like that. I can't remember her name, but you know the one with like the black stripes on her face. Goes into her hair.
Yeah. The actor from The Mummy, the Tom Cruise one. Yeah, she's great. Oh no, the makeup should have gotten the Oscar that year. It lost to Suicide Squad of all things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what for because the crocodile was CGI.
And he didn't look like a crocodile.
Yeah, there is that, yeah.
He looked like he came from the sewer, but not for the reasons you think.
What's with all these weird cryptic statements you and Kev are mentioning
Well,
today?
we're on at 5. I can't just come out and say he looked like a turd man.
No, you know what? I think Turd Man is a fine PG rating.
To be honest, I'm sure it's a comic that you'd find on your app, Kev, somewhere.
No, I wouldn't find it on my app. Again, that'd be the Rob Liefeld school. Speaking of on at 5, our on at 5 slot is closing soon.
Yes, before we go, can I quickly read the non-exhausted lists of aliases that Moon Knight has?
Okay.
Oh, please do.
His real name is Mark Spector, but he also is billionaire businessman Stephen Grant, taxi cab driver Jake Lockley, the Fist of Khonshu, which is the god that he gets his power from, and a consultant named Mr. Knight. And this is all before we get to Moon Knight himself. And I know I can't be the only one who thinks this is weird, because they've made the effort to highlight all the identities on his wiki in like black writing, so you can keep track of it all, you know.
Now, you know what, Keen? I think what you've just done is just read the credits for the show, so I think we're done.
All right. Is there anything?
I'm the Fist of Khonshu, and you can follow me on Twitter.
So, Katie Riley, aka Mannequin Blue, aka Acutely Morbid, aka Balloon Warrior.
The Fist of Khonshu.
That's Mrs. Knight.
It's really not.
Anything you want to plug, Katie?
Nope. Still nothing from me. Still trying to get back into the routine. It's been a very long Christmas, and that's all I can say about that.
Excellent.
Keen, when do we tell her it's February?
just leave it till the next one. You won't notice.
Okay.
Kev.
As always, you can follow me on Twitter at KevDalek94, and you can watch me run a Greek mythology themed Dungeons and Dragons campaign over on YouTube / the Nancy Crew, with the campaign named The Odyssey of This Bish.
BISH, by the way, on a 5.
On a 5.
Yeah, I'll just quickly plug myself then. I am still running a drama classes and public speaking classes and storytelling classes and creative writing classes, all on All Abilities Ireland, which is on Eventbrite. They're all over Zoom. We're starting a teen one for creative writing and public speaking this Friday at 6. There's an adult one at 7, also on Friday. We've got kids one on Saturday mornings, but the easiest thing is just to type in All Abilities Ireland Eventbrite. All my stuff is up there. We've got loads of new ones starting up in March. Most of them are free. Some of them are a tenner for a month, which is about as much as it costs to buy all of the comics that Kev mentioned on the app. So dirt cheap. So if you want to kind of give all those a try, I run them personally. So you can find me there, and thank you very much in advance. And with that, I think we'll call time on this show. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back with more Moon Knight identities next week. And until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She says I'm not romantic. I say she's too dramatic. I tell her while we're at it, we go.
Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
I say she's too dramatic.
Alright, so you're listening to the podcast, you're like, hey, I'm not in Ireland, how do I get in touch? Well, TuneIn has you covered. That's how you can check us out live when we're on the radio. You go to TuneIn and download the app, or you can check out the live streams on nerdtoknowmedia.com or Phoenix 92.5 FM. If you want to get in contact with us, it's very easy. Nerd to Know Media everywhere. Nerd to Know Media on Twitter, Nerd to Know Media Instagram, Nerd to Know Media on Twitch, Nerd to Know Media at gmail.com if you want to reach out via email. Hope to hear from you soon.
Hey, Dara, what are you doing over there in Ireland? Like with the freaking leprechauns and everything. That's not cool. You should be over here with the cosplayers. At least then you could, like, I don't know, pretend like you got, I don't know, some kind of thing going on. Yeah, with you give me a Brooklyn raise. Yeah, with you. Dick. Dara? Yeah, Dara. Why ain't you over here with Joey? Anyway, we missed you, dude. So, it's Bill Karibo saying...
I love it. All I do is...
Check out the Wrestling Rewind here on Phoenix 92.5 FM every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And of course, over on nerdtoknowmedia.com, the only wrestling podcast by wrestling fans who don't hate wrestling. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.